Hello, welcome back. So today I will try to do a video with a voiceover because recording of this went through, I guess, 3 or 4 days, and I ended up with a lot of recordings, and the video would be just too long if we cut together everything, and I cannot do it in such a way that you understand everything from cuts. So I will try to tell you about this. It's about this big fridge, let's say so, which is used in a truck to transport medicine. So the truck is equipped with a bigger refrigerator or a unit, let's say so. I think it's a carrier or a Thermo King. I think it's Thermo King, and inside they are making between 14 and 17 degrees Celsius, and some of the cargo is transported at that temperature, and some of it needs to be transported at between 4 and 8 degrees. So the owner of the box called us and said, well, the unit suddenly stopped cooling and the temperature was only rising. And they tried it with a full box and an empty one, but the problem remained. They checked the power supplies and so on, everything was fine. And this is what I suspected at first. I also checked everything on the truck when it came here, so yeah, pretty much seemed like the box had a problem. And I have started the troubleshooting. I connected pressure gauges to the compressor. It has only one port, and what we saw is that the compressor or the pressure on the suction line was going into vacuum. So what we thought, or what I thought, yeah, it somehow lost refrigerant, even though I don't know where, nothing was visible. So maybe at the charging port. Yeah, who knows. So I tried to recover something from the unit. I did not manage to do so. So it was pretty clear that something is missing. Yeah, maybe refrigerant, maybe lost the refrigerant, whatever. So we vacuum the system. We charge it with refrigerant. This one is with 404A, but the problems remain the same. So the unit was starting, it was going to vacuum, and it was not cooling. Sometimes the compressor was starting, stopping, sometimes it was working for a longer period, but when touching the evaporator inside the unit, it was warm, so it was not cooling at all. Anyway, we contacted the manufacturer. I tell them these problems, and what the manufacturer said, it's to test the he said that it seems like something in the system is clogged, and the filter is what I thought at first, but he said it also could be the evaporator. Yeah, so for these times I only worked on big coolers in transportation cooling units like carrier Thermo King, and they are all having an expansion valve. They all have discharge and suction ports and multiple measuring points on the system. So in those, the probability of the clogged evaporator is really small. Maybe there is, yes, of course, the orifice of the expansion valve could be clogged or blocked or something like this. Yeah, but you can check it easily. So what the manufacturer told us to do is recover the refrigerant again, of course. We did that, fill it up with nitrogen, and see where the refrigerant is escaping from. Okay, so let's see what we found. Okay, so we are back, and we have nitrogen here in this bottle. and we will insert nitrogen into the circuit, and then we will cut this capillary right here and see from which direction the nitrogen is coming, and then we will know what is the problem, the filter or the evaporator. So let's see. This is opened. Okay, let's save. We will just insert a little bit. They say 8.5 bars. I will only fill it. Let's see. 4. I think 4 bars should be enough for this test, but who knows. So I think there's a special tool for this, for cutting the capillary, but I don't have it. So let's try cutting like this, yeah, and we see nitrogen is coming from, yeah, can you see it? It's coming from the filter, but it's not coming from the evaporator, or I did not cut it right. Let's see if we make another cut here. Yeah, oh, so look, there is some oil coming out. So what do you think? I think this, somehow this fridge fell and oil got into the circuit. So we can see, yeah, it is coming from the from the condenser, but it's not coming back from the evaporator. Very small quantity here. So it's the worst case scenario. We will have to change the evaporator, and I don't know how it's done. We do have here, this is copper tube that's going into the box, but the evaporator is aluminum, so let's hope there is some kind of connection that we can change, a flare connection or something like that up in the box. So we will see what's, but it's clear the problem is the evaporator, exactly what I didn't want the problem to be. I already ordered the filters, but I don't even know if I should change the filter or not, because it's not so easy to change. As you can see, the space here is really limited, but I will have to do anyway some welds here, so maybe I will change the filter also. Let's see how can we get the evaporator. So after finding out the problem is the evaporator, we ordered the part and it arrived in a few days. The transportation, the freight cost for the part was even higher than the part itself. Yeah, really interesting. Anyway, this is something that it is out of our control, and I went on to dismantle the old evaporator, and before mounting the new one in, I had to transfer these little spacers. I used super glue to fix them. After this, we fixed the evaporator, or I fixed the evaporator inside, and it's a really big fridge. I can fit easily in it. I can almost stand up straight. And after this, we brazed the connections. First the suction line into the compressor, and after that I tried removing the filter, but I think it's held on by something else than just brazing material, because I heated it up and it wouldn't come off, so I had to cut the pipe down close to the filter, and this was maybe even better, because with a normal cutter we would lose, let's say, 5-10 millimeters of the pipe, and even this is a really small space, and it's better this way because it was closer to us. So we put on the new filter. also the capillary tube, and yeah, it was time for pressure testing. I held the unit one night under pressure, and when I came back the next morning, the pressure dropped a little bit, but I think it was because of the temperature in the workshop. In the night it gets cold because there is no heating during the night. So I just tried putting a little bit of nitrogen in the system, and nothing went in because the bottle and the circuit were at the same pressure. So this tells me that nothing is losing refrigerant anyway. I left it for another hour or two to be sure. I tested again with soap and so on. Everything was fine. After this, we did the vacuuming, and after the vacuuming, of course, we charged the system with 250 grams of gas. Yeah, and this is where the fun began for the first time. Let's see the suction. Now the compressor is ramping up. I can hear the speed change. And it stopped, okay. But it didn't go to vacuum. Why did it stop? So after something like this happens, all kind of questions go through your mind, and we did a big job. So we replaced an evaporator, and you will start to think, did I do something wrong? Did I vacuum it right? Did somehow air got into the system? And all kind of questions will go through your head because nothing makes sense. Yeah, so what I did, I recovered. I thought it was high pressure for sure, and I recovered 100 grams of refrigerant. The unit started to work a little bit better, a little bit longer, but would still stop. I recovered another 50 grams, and now the unit started working for longer time. But it was clear something's not okay because the pressures on the lower gauge started going into vacuum, so below zero. The unit was not stopping yet, but also on the evaporator, the cooling happened only one spot, so it was a visible frosted spot right where the capillary tube enters the evaporator, and yeah, something was not wrong, and I started to doubt everything I did. It happens like this. So I said, well, let's do the vacuuming again. So I vacuumed for another 6 hours or so. It's probably the next day, and charged the unit with 250 grams as the manufacturer says, and surprise, the unit was doing exactly the same thing all over. So it was working for a short while and stopping, until I realized something. And from now on I will play the live recording, so if some information is repeated, please just go along with it. Okay guys, so I think I'm stupid, and I never thought I will fall in this trap, and I always tell customers. So I have another one there, a smaller one, and usually the problem with these cooling boxes are that the power supply is not good, and it's stopping. Yeah. So when I first charged the system, I used this 12-volt supply from that battery and this charger. Yeah, and the unit was stopping So what is? I said the pressure is too big. So I recovered some refrigerant, the unit was working. And okay, so I said maybe some air got into the system, and that's the problem. Good. I recovered the refrigerant again, put it back, the same problem. And now I said, okay, I was measuring only the amps. Yeah, the amps looked good, but the unit was stopping without any signs. I was stupid enough not to measure the voltage. But yeah, I said, well, anyway, let's try with a different power supply. So this unit is capable also of running of the outlet, and I went and got a cable. Yeah, plugged it in. The unit is working. And I also managed to charge the system with 250 grams, like the manufacturer is saying. Yeah, suction is 2.2, which is what I would expect. Yeah, not 0 point whatever like I had yesterday. I mean, I had some experience. I mean, a few years of experience with coolers and fridges, but in transport, like Thermo King and Carrier, and those have expansion valves. And the other thing is I can measure the high pressure, which I cannot do here, and it's kind of problem for me because I'm used to seeing also the high pressure, and I thought it was over pressure, but no guys, it was just a faulty power supply. It's not faulty, I mean, it's working. I tested, I use it all the time, but I guess also the cables are very long, let's say about 5 meters, and could be also that the section, the wire gauge, is not appropriate for this. Yeah, so I lost a day almost for this, and I feel really stupid, but this is how you learn. Yeah, so we have 18 amps directly on the compressor, everything's working, and yeah, 250 grams. And I was already starting to doubt everything, even the refrigerant. I wanted to say that it's not good, but it's clean refrigerant. Yeah, and we started at 15 degrees, so it's already cooled 3 degrees in a few minutes. And yeah, you can see how the temperature is falling, even as we record this, man. So anyway, I will leave the unit running a little bit, then I will put everything back together, even the fan and everything, and we will do a longer test. It's Friday now, so probably the longer test will be on Monday. I will have to put everything back here, also insulate the pipes and so on. So yeah, we can also see the current is falling as we are cooling the unit, and this is normal. Also the suction will fall a little bit as the evaporator gets colder. Well, what can we say? Okay, let's leave it running and do the final tests, assemble it, and assemble it, do the final tests, and after that we can give back the fridge to the customer. We are ready to close the behind of the unit. As you can see, I have put the insulation back onto the pipes, insulated everything as it was, blowed out a little bit the dust, and that's it. We are done here. We also have to do the front, put back all the things inside the box. And here, I don't know why they are using a temperature sensor on this filter, but I guess it's for starting the condenser fans. I do not see any other reason why it's there, so I insulated that also like it was, and that's it. So let's put everything back together on the inside also. So we have everything mounted back together. Yeah, the shelves, also that pan at the top, which stops condensation water of dropping on the boxes, and it goes out of the box. Yeah, so we have two shelves, everything is connected. We are waiting for the unit to start. There is a delay when plugged in to mains, so we already plugged in. Yeah, there is a, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes delay when switching between power supplies, because if it would switch on, let's say from 12 or 24 to 230, then you need a delay, because if you switch on back on the compressor again too fast, it will go into protection, because it doesn't have time for the pressure to equalize properly. Yeah, so this is why this delay is there. So we have 11 degrees. Yeah, I think the set point is 0, so we will let it run, and let's see if it gets to 0. So the unit reached already. It's been a few hours. We have to take in consideration it's a really big box. 0.7 degrees. Anyway, the usage scenario is 2.8 or 5.8, depends on how they use it, but usually for medicine that's okay, and everything's fine. The unit is running fine, so we will leave it all day, and then we will call the customer and call him to pick it up. Yeah, that's it. Okay guys, thanks for watching. It's been an adventure, this one. Yeah, okay, see you next time. Bye bye. Yeah, this one, the small one, was just the button, the on off switch, and it's done, it's working.